Two-Face, moving the camera, your nightmare. Two-Face says hi too. Today is May 12th. I'm planning to do a week-long writing vlog. This will probably be my last one for a little while because the kids will be out of school for a bit, and that makes it a little bit harder. A lot bit harder. It is 12:30 now. I haven't gotten a whole lot done. On Saturday, I took the boys to garden day at Nathaniel Green / Close Memorial Park. It's one of our favorite parks, and they had like a native plant sale, and we each picked out a plant, so we need to plant those sometime this week. That requires doing some garden work, which Two-Face, you are noisy. That requires doing some garden work, which we haven't really done yet this year, but it was a really cool event. We met one of my best friends and her kids. We had a little picnic. We went to the butterfly house, because this was the first day that it's open for the season. We went on a tram tour around the whole garden, and that was really cool. A lot of stuff that I didn't know, even though we've been going there for years. Are you done? And there is the Mitsumoto Japanese stroll garden that is connected to it. It's the only thing that is like a paid activity at the park, but because of this garden day event, that was free today, so it was totally open for anyone to go in, which was really nice. I took the boys in, we walked around. They helped me choose what to like take video of. It was so beautiful, and they absolutely loved it. They thought it was gorgeous. So I've got some native plants that need planted. I have a couple short stories I really need to finish beta reading. There's also a small garden called a waterwise garden. We went there on Friday, and I discovered that there is a free little library there, and it was severely wanting. It only had a few books in it. I have some extra books of mine, like the first section with the really pale covers there are like a previous edition that I'm selling at like a discounted price because I have a new cover. It's that one. So maybe I'll shove a couple of those in there. But I also have like some old books that I was intending to donate or something like that. If the used bookstore doesn't take them, we usually wind up putting them in free little libraries. So I want to take some books over there and put them in that little library. I also semi-recently got a new laptop. It's a refurbished ThinkPad. It doesn't have, particularly amazing specs or anything because it's not really for that. I just want to be able to write more easily on the go, so I'll probably take that and go somewhere to write sometime this week. And I want to decorate it today. Obviously, the main event here is working on my story. I have not been making a whole lot of progress because I pretty much always focus on making the videos and video editing. So to force myself to make progress, we're doing a writing vlog. So what I want to do today, I want to do a little reorganization. My desk is such a mess, and part of getting that organized will be doing a little reorganization of my corkboards, because some of the stuff on my desk is stuff that I want to put up there. I want to put stickers on my laptop, and after all of that, hopefully I have a little time to do some writing. I'll probably be thinking about writing or catching up on my watch later because I'm very, very behind. All these authortubers, they keep putting out videos and I'm like a month behind on most of them. It's bad. Anyway. I am drinking my boba tea. This is a matcha brown sugar. It is afternoon now. I had an appointment this morning and then I ran a few errands. So because of my appointments and everything, I'm running a little late. I haven't gotten any writing done. I haven't done a whole lot of stuff, period. I wanted to have the camera angled more over here so you can see what I did yesterday. I think it looks really good. I need to fix up this one too. Come here, you. It's a kitty! As you can see, I have a whole bunch of work to do. I got a bunch of tasks done yesterday, and today I primarily want to work on writing. I don't have a whole lot of time because the kids will be getting picked up from school soon, and yay. In not so fun news, last night I realized that I am not receiving emails on my author email or my editing email. Basically what happened is that whenever I switched over to a new domain registrar, I forgot to update the MX DNS settings. So ever since then, I haven't been getting emails. And it took me way too long to figure this out. I was trying to reset up my newsletter, but the email verification wasn't working. And that's what made me realize this. And I figured it out and I updated the MX files. So it's fixed now, but it's been a couple months since this happened. And now I realize why I haven't had any editing clients the last couple months. It's because of this. Because if someone tried to contact me, I never got their email. And it's fixed now, but I don't just have a backlog of emails that will be sent in. They're just gone. They are gone forever. It's extra frustrating because if I hadn't been able to send emails, I would have figured it out so much sooner. And I'm so mad at myself for not realizing this sooner, and how many opportunities have I lost because someone couldn't get in contact with me. It's fixed now, so it's not a problem anymore, and I just have to keep going, but it's really hard not to let something like that get you down. I don't know how to do it. I will probably not be so frustrated with myself in a couple days, and I just have to wait for my emotions to regulate themselves. I can't let it ruin my day. So I realized that late last night and then stayed up late figuring it out and fixing it. So that's another reason I've been a little slow going today. Between that and appointments and errands this morning, I haven't really dived into it yet, but I'm going to do that now. I'm going to try to do some writing sprints on the Storytellers server, and we'll go from there. Hey kitty. I do have to get up to turn off stuff because I'm too far away. Today is Wednesday, May 14th. I've been working since around 10 a.m. I've gotten some writing done. I finished a chapter. I also went through and changed some stuff. As you can see, I cut off 2 chapters because I tightened up things. This section of the book is really rough, but I can't make it better until I have it written in the first place, and I just have to remind myself of that. So I have about 5.5 chapters left to write, and these chapters are pretty short. Chapter 36 was a little over 1,400 words. Chapter 37 is just under 1,700 words, so those are on the shorter side. And I think, honestly, if I aim for maybe 1,000 words each chapter, I'll probably wind up with more than that, of course. But if I aim for that, then I think I'll be okay. And then when it's done, it's done. I don't know how long that's going to take. If I do, like, 1 chapter every day, then that's 5 days. That gives me today to finish the chapter I'm currently on, and then 5 days to do the rest of it. I'm struggling a lot with these chapters. It's just very messy, and the story is definitely not going how I want it to go, which isn't the end of the world. This part, most of this draft that I'm working on has not been a rough draft. It's been more revised. It has been in better condition, but this section is all brand new, so it's coming out very zero draft. I'm going to work on doing some more writing now. I'm going to try to finish that chapter, and then I think I might work on updating this corkboard some. Tonight I have a speculative fiction group meeting on Zoom. That's the group that's a subdivision of the Writers Guild. This is the first Zoom meeting that I'll be attending. I'll be doing it on my laptop upstairs because my husband will be at work and I'll have the kids. So I don't know how well that's going to work, but we'll see. It's Thursday, May 15th. I have made a little bit of progress this week. I still have about 5 chapters left to finish the story. I'm hoping that as I keep going, I'm able to go a little bit faster, but we'll see. Today I need to focus on writing, and then this evening I am going to an event hosted at the library center. Okay, the event that I'm going to with a couple of my friends is called Missouri Gothic and Ozarks Noir. Dr. Catherine Gilbert, director of Drury's Humanities and Ethics Center, will examine works of fiction that layer a rugged Ozarks over a Gothic or noir underbelly, offering cultural context for how these tales merge classic tropes with modern themes to create successful new genres. That's everything I want to be writing right now. Like, I saw this and I was like, I need to go to this. This sounds so cool. And the person who's giving this speech is one of my old professors. Katie Gilbert was one of my main English professors when I attended Drury. She was a relatively new professor at the time, but she was, I think, my first English teacher because she taught British literature, and that was one of the most standard things you take as a freshman wanting to go into the English department. Most of her classes focused on British literature or women in literature. I am not surprised that she is now the director of the Humanities and Ethics Center. That's really cool. I don't know what exactly they do. I believe she's been doing that for a while, though. It was either 2018 or 2019. She asked me to come and teach a lesson for one of her English classes with, like, freshmen. That was amazing, first of all. Second of all, I have no idea what I talked about. I remember catching up with her, and I remember going up to do my speech, and I remember taking questions at the end. I don't remember what I talked about at all. I don't know if I gave them any valuable information at all. Public speaking is one of the scariest things that could possibly happen to me. I do not know how to fully articulate the severe anxiety that I get doing something like that. So I don't even remember what I talked about. Anyway, one of the things I really want to be working on, and I'm going to try to do this primarily starting with short stories, but I really want to focus on doing like gothic horror set in the Ozarks, because I have lived here since I was 4 years old. I've lived here for 30 years. That's insane. And I have a lot of issues with being here, most of them political, but I love this place. It is beautiful and underappreciated for what it is, especially in regards to beauty. This area is hauntingly beautiful, and I need to write about it. So yeah, Missouri Gothic and Ozarks Noir. I love noir. I've made some comics that were specifically noir, and so I've done a bunch of research on film noir and all of that stuff. That was my senior project for the honors program at Drury, which was an amazing experience, but also I don't think my comics are very good, and that is an art aspect of it. Like, you look at one panel and this person looks nothing like what they look like 2 panels later, and that's just a skill issue. Maybe someday I'll show those to you guys. So yeah, I'm not as interested in the noir aspect, at least not for the projects that I want to be working on, but like gothic horror and folk horror are a lot of where I want to be going, what I want to be writing. I don't know, this is just right up my alley. I'm so excited. Libraries are awesome. That is the true hero of this. Libraries are amazing, and support your library. In these trying times, please support your library. It's important. I am going to dive into writing and hopefully get another chapter done. branch fell and knocked out power for like the whole street. So that's really cool. That means I can't do any writing or editing, let alone video editing. Sorry for wonky audio, because obviously I can't record this in my office in the basement where there is no natural light. The room is completely black. And even if I could record down there, I cannot use my microphone because that mic is connected to my computer. It requires the computer to run, and the computer cannot turn on. I can't do any of what I need to be doing right now. Anyway, just a little update. Things are a disaster right now. It'll be fine though. Hopefully the power will be back on soon. If nothing else, I can do a little bit of yard work. I need to plant some flowers because they're still sitting there waiting in pots. Tomorrow it will be a week since we got them, and they need planted so they don't die. I have some notes that I took at the event last night. It was pretty fun. It felt like I was back in college, but like in a good way. It was really nice to see Dr. Gilbert again. She's so sweet and, asked me how I was doing, how writing and everything was going. She's great. I kind of had a realization while she was giving her speech. When she started at Drury, I believe she started the same year that I was a freshman. I had always kind of assumed that the amount of times that she says and so were because she was still new at it and she was just nervous. It's been almost 16 years and she still does that. There's something kind of reassuring about that. I don't know, that was just a thought I had. I do have some notes from last night that I want to transcribe. I forgot to take my notebook with me. I am so freaking scatterbrained. I don't know, I'll talk more about that later when I'm not distracted by I don't have any power. is 4:44, so it's a little bit later than I would generally prefer, but what with the power being out for like 3 hours, I couldn't exactly do a bunch of recording or anything. So we're just going to do a quick check-in since it was really nice out and I didn't have power. So I went out and did a little gardening. I finally planted 2 of the 3 plants that we got from Garden Day last weekend. I went out and weeded. My husband went and got some new garden soil, and I planted the elderberry that my oldest picked out, and I planted the aster that I picked out. The sunflower that my other son picked out still needs planted, but I need to weed the area that it will get planted. Anyway, I need to do a load of stuff. I did not get any writing done, but I went through and I transferred my notes about the speech that me and my friends went to last night. So we talked about romanticism and gothic and noir. It was really fascinating how these story ideas and tropes are used in modern stories set here. It was really fascinating. We talked primarily about Gillian Flynn. I had no idea that she was born and raised in Kansas City, or that any of her books are set here. I have not actually read any of the books or seen any of the movies or shows. And we talked about the show Ozark, and we talked about Winter's Bone, and this book is a debut book that came out recently, The Weight of Blood. So we talked about all of those things and how these ideas of gothic and noir were kind of merged together to create new stories that are set here in the Ozarks. And so then this page is basically like all of the tropes that are used in these kind of stories. The settings that are used here, it is all like out in the wilderness, so it's the woods, it's the caves, these hills and stuff, like places where you get lost or trapped, or you can get lost or trapped, just like catacombs and like ruined castles and stuff like that in old Gothic stories. The women are basically a combination of a damsel in distress, like in Gothic stories, and a femme fatale, like in noir stories. And there's a lot of emphasis on like being off the grid, being independent, and basically like this area, it's not an easy place to travel, and it's not even an easy place to farm. Basically, to live here, you have to persevere. Of all the settings, caves are the most gothic, but even the way that women are treated in these stories, it's like even the woman is something that you can explore and get lost in, which is such a fun concept. As far as like fantasy and speculative elements, basically all of the speculative elements of these stories are like taking religion or a family to the extreme, which is fascinating, but I would have preferred more emphasis on actual fantastical elements. Like Dracula has freaking vampires. Frankenstein, like the science that he does to create the monster is extreme and not possible. So many of these stories, it's like they're actual hauntings, they're actual ghosts. All of these Ozarks Gothic stories, it's like you drive past an empty house and the windows look like there are faces staring back at you, and it's like it's an eerie feeling to make it feel haunted, but there's no actual haunting happening. And the real horror is basically the lengths that people go to for their family or because of economic hardship. The horrors in these stories are more close to home. They're about what people do behind the scenes. It's about thinking you know someone and then having your entire world turned upside down because they are nothing like who you thought they were. And I love that. That's really cool, and that is something that I enjoy writing. But I do want the actual fantasy aspect to this. I want ghosts. I want vampires and monsters. I want the hounds to be actual werewolves or something like that. I want the fantastical aspect, and I'm far less interested without that aspect. Like, part of why I love Gothic and Gothic horror is because it has that fantasy to it. And yes, I understand that those fantastical elements often mimic or reference real-time things, callbacks to the French Revolution, or Dracula coming to England was about the Black Plague. It wasn't like there was just random fantasy elements. They served a role, and there were socioeconomic things that they actually related to. So just in general, like, it was fascinating. Maybe I will actually read some of them now. I've only heard good things about Gillian Flynn's books. Anyway, I have not gotten any writing done today. I probably won't check in again, but next week is the last week of school, so I will be taking advantage of that while I can, and hopefully I'll at least have most of this done. I really wanted to get this draft finished this week. I knew it was a little unrealistic. I'm not done with chapter 38 yet, but it's already 1,780 words, so that's the longest of the chapters I have on the board here, which is nice, because that has been part of the struggle. Writing this draft has been like pulling teeth most of the time. And then every once in a while there's a scene or a moment where it's like, oh, this is just working. And it's so nice and refreshing when that happens. I am going to try to do some more writing over the weekend, but we'll see.